So far we have discussed several type of taxes, and basically we focus on the income tax at the beginning. Under the income tax, we have discussed three different type of returns: individual income tax return, corporate income tax return, and the partnership income tax return. Thereafter, last week we discussed the value-added tax return. So it's bit different. So it's a different tax actually. So regulated by the different legislations as well, right? So till the others join today and next week, we have discussed this APIT and withholding. Actually, this APIT and withholding, we have to submit the, we called it as a statement, not the return, right? Because withholding and APIT, advanced personal income tax, those are not the separate tax types, right? Those are not the separate tax type. Those are interconnected with the income tax, right? Those are interconnected with the income tax, and this is kind of mode of payment income tax. You can pay your income tax liability as advanced personal income tax or the payee, and you can pay your income tax liability as a WHT. So even the originally even this APIT or payee also recognized as a kind of WHT payment, withholding tax payment. According to the principle and according to the its application and everything, it's a kind of withholding tax, right? So so now today and tomorrow, today and next session, we are going to focus on those two statements, right? Submission of those two statements. Any feedback? Anything you need to know, especially? And refers to VAT. How do you feel? VAT is a different subject. VAT, what we do, we just calculate the output VAT, and against the output VAT, we allow the input, right? So in the value-added tax return, what you need to disclose, you need to disclose the output amount and the input amount, right? So the other very significant feature of this value-added tax return filing, you have to submit for all your output amount or your input amount, right? And for all this kind of thing, you need to submit the schedules. You need to submit it with the schedules, right? So those schedules will be verified within the system. Once you submit the schedules, those schedules will be matched with the some other details, right? So that is why there's a schedule matching process. So therefore, before you submit the schedules, you need to do something. Your first thing is you need to download the particular format for that schedule. There's a specific format for the schedule. I mean, VAT schedule 1, schedule 2, or whatever it is, there are specific formats, right? So first thing is you need to download the specific format, and then you need to enter the data to those schedules as the schedules are specified by the IRB. And then you need to convert those schedules into CSV, eliminated spreadsheet format. And then you have to verify those schedules with the relevant tool. Then only you can upload the schedules, right? And other thing is the amount that you enter for the when it comes to especially this SWAT, sorry, WHT and the payee, amount that you enter for the particular cages should be matched with the schedule value, right? So there should be that kind of relationship. Anything you want to know? Do you need anything about the previous sessions? I mean that today we are going to do this schedule uploading part. How to enter the data for the schedules and how to verify the schedule through the tools. We do this today. And anything you need to know, any suggestions or anything from your end? Even you can use the chat box, or even um, you can talk. All are possible. Mismatch cases. Okay, so mismatch means I think you are referring to mismatch once it is matched by the inland revenue. No? So in that case, what you have to do is you have to submit. You can submit the amended schedules, right? You have to submit the amended schedules, or you can correct the existing schedule. Both the actions are available. So if you do have if you do need more information about this schedule matching and kind of thing, so we'll dedicate the next session for the schedule matching, right? So is it good? Do you think is it helpful to you if we discuss schedule matching? So if it is so, we have to complete the APIT and the withholding both within today. It's possible, it can, right? We can discuss both the APIT and the withholding today, and then next session we can allocate for the schedule uploading, schedule matching, and we can discuss what are the errors, common errors or common issues with the schedule uploading and schedule matching, right? So what do you propose? So you have to propose, because this is your course, right? So what do you propose? Any proposal? No? Okay. So then we'll move to the today's session. We start from the, I think it's better to start from the APIT, Advanced Personal Income Tax. This return has to be filed by the employer. Uh, Anyone who experience with this APIT schedule or APIT return or APIT statement filing? Is there anyone? Sometimes, even the no proposal or even no suggestion. Okay. Even you do have some issues with the individual income tax return filing. We can discuss even the individual income tax related issues as well, or even the tax registration related issues as well. I mean, tax registration means PIN number administration, right? And the thing and tax type registration, return issues, whatever the issue you do have with the return filing, we can discuss, right? Okay, so we'll continue, and let me share my screen. I just switch off my video. So let me share. Okay, we'll start with this advanced personal income tax return filing, right? APIT filing. So the first requirement, right? As we discussed in corporate income tax return filing, you need to have a separate SSID. No, separate SSID mean you need to have a allocated SSID for the APIT tax type, right? APIT tax type, you need to allocate one particular SSID for the APIT tax type. It doesn't matter whether the same SSID has been allocated for the corporate income tax or value-added tax or whatever it is, but still you can use that particular SSID for the advanced personal income tax purpose. It doesn't matter, but you need to allocate two: one as a preparer for the APIT and one as a approver for the APIT. So now what I'm showing, I'm just allocating SSID for that purpose. And once we allocate a SSID for the tax type APIT, you have to use this SSID for the return filing purpose. The APIT return or statement filing purpose, right? First, you have to log into the system using the SSID, which is authorized as a APIT preparer, right? So the return will be appeared only for the APIT prepare SSID. So then what you have to do, once you complete that task, you have to again log into the system using APIT approve SSID to submit the return, right? Can you see here, in this case, no return is available. Maybe this person is logging to the system using incorrect SSID, right? So that is why I just show this video clip, right? If you log into the system with SSID which is not authorized for the APIT, not authorized as a APIT preparer, you cannot see anything, right? මේ මේක දැන් ගොඩක් දෙනෙක් සමහරලාට ඔය විශේෂයෙන් මේක ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ corporate income tax වල සහ මේ ආවාගේ tax type වල ඒගොල්ලන් කියනවා log වෙලා tax return එක ඒගොල්ලන්ට පෙන්වන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. Maybe two reasons. One is return has not been issued by the IRB. If it is so, you cannot see the return. And the next issue maybe the person who logged into the system is not authorized for that particular function or that particular action. මේ ලොග්ගුණු කෙනාගේ SSID එක ඒ අදාළ කාර්ය සම්පූර්ණ authorize කරලා නොතිබෙන්න පුළුවන්. If it is so, you cannot see the return within the premise system, right? And then I just want to show you the advanced personal income tax annual return. Here it is, right? This is for the year of assessment 23-24, but even for the 24-25, there's no difference, right? right? So this is the annual statement of the employer, APIT, right? It has to be submitted under the section 86 of the Inland Revenue Act of number 24 of 2017, right? The statement has to be submitted on or before 30th April, right? Since this is 23-24, it has to be submitted on or before 30th April 2024. If it is for the year of assessment 24-25, it has to be submit on or before 30th April 2025, right? Assessment year within 1 month, you have to submit this statement, because there is no tax computation, right? No need to prepare financial statement, that kind of thing. What you have to do is you have to just declare whatever the amount you paid as a salary and remuneration during the past year, during the past year of assessment, and what is the amount that you deduct under the APIT, right? So those are the details that you need to declare with this returns, right? Let me show you the return format right here. First part, right? This is the first part for the total employment remuneration, total remuneration, right? And the withholding deducted amount, right? Annually, total remuneration paid by the company and the WFT deducted amount, right? That is what you need to disclose under the first part, right? Here, the first thing is you have to enter the activity code, right? Activity code of the business, right? Then what you have to do, you have to enter uh, the number of employee who are not liable to pay APIT. This is the place where you need to enter the number of employees who are not liable to pay APIT, and here the amount that company has paid for that category of employees, right? If we apply this for the factory, right? Maybe factory workers, they are not entitled for this APIT because their salary is the monthly remuneration or the annual gross remuneration below the threshold level, right? If it is so, no APIT will be deduct against them, and they are treated as the part of the employees who are not liable for the APIT deduction. එතකොට මේ factory workers ලගේ ගාන කීයද? ඒගොල්ලන්ට කීයක් මෙතන salary ගෙවුවද කියලා total එක you have to enter, right? So okay. Contract employees or permanent employees. No, so it doesn't matter whether it is contract employee or the permanent employee. I think even for the contract employees, you need to pay the EPF and ETF, no? Am I correct? So maybe contract employee, contract for 1 year, contract for the 2 year. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter here, right? If it is a payment of salary, right? The payment you have made to the contract employees, or the payment or the salary that you paid to the contract employees, or salary that you paid for the permanent employees, right? Whatever it is, you have to declare under the salary and wages expenditure. No? If it is so, you have to consider both these categories here, right? So, okay, and you have to enter the number of employees who are not liable for the pay and the amount paid to them. And then again, there's a two different type of employment. No? The primary employment income and the secondary employment income. Any idea about what is this secondary employment income? Anybody do have idea? Secondary employment income means in case a person is having two employment at once, right? Two employment income at once, right? Out of those two or more, one has to be selected as the primary employment income, and the rest has to be selected as the secondary employment income. Uh, can I have some example for this kind of situation? The person is having two employment income at the same time. Is it possible? As per your experience, is this possible? Can I have some example? Doctors, how? You mean doctors means having a employment income from government hospital and doing channeling at Navaloka. Is it? Is it so? Is that you mean? The directors, yes, that's correct. Directors may have income from several organizations at the same time. May have a salary from company A, B, and C. In that case, one entity or the one organization, one employment has to be recognized as a primary employment, and the rest has to be recognized as the secondary employment. So let me present one example. Say the person who work for the company, right, as his primary employment, and meantime he's working for some project of this office. There are a lot of projects, especially in the government sector. You know, there are a lot of projects, right? So once the person, once the employee, right, allocated for particular project, right, he may have some sort of payment, some sort of remuneration from that project as well. In addition to his normal salary, he may have some additional payment from that project, right? So if it is so, the payment received through this project will be treated as the secondary employment income. It is available in the private sector as well, right? So the private sector, as an example, say group HR manager, or the group finance manager, whatever it is, may in a one particular entity payroll as his primary employment, right? Meantime, that HR manager or the finance manager may work for the other companies as well, right? In that case, he he may have a remuneration from other companies as well within the group. In that case, the income he received from the other entities is identified as the secondary employment income, right? So organization may have to pay the primary employment income as well as to the secondary employment income. දැන් එකම ආයතනයක් එයා එයාලගේ ඉන්නවා primary employment එක තියෙන අයත් ඉන්නවා, secondary employment එක තියෙන අයත් ඉන්නවා. That is why it has been divided into two: primary employment income and the secondary employment income, right? So here, what you have to do, you have to enter the details refers to the employees who do have primary employment income, and they are liable for the APIT, right? And they are liable for the APIT, right? Right. So what about this category, right? This category, the primary employment, the income in between uh, 0 to 1.2 million. Do you think they are eligible for the APIT deduction? මේ 1.2 million අතර කැටගරියක් මේ this is the salary scale, right? Do you think මේ කැටගරියේ ඉන්න අය APIT ගෙවන්න ඕනිද? Generally no, right? Yeah, correct. Generally no, but in some instance they may need to pay, because in case of they are having some lump sum payment or kind of thing, maybe they have to pay. That is why this category is here, right? But generally there's no, right? And the second slab, right? This is the employees in between 1.2 million to 1.7 million. මේ annual income එක 1.2 සහ 1.7 අතර income ලබන අය කීයද? ඒගොල්ලන්ට ගෙවපු total remuneration එක කීයද? ඒ අය වෙනුවෙන් deduct කරපු tax එක කීයද? right? Yeah, we need to enter the gross salary plus bonus and everything, total employment income that you paid for those employees, right? Maybe it maybe include bonus, right? Allowances, right? So some all the employee related expenditure. So why I am saying this at the end, right? The total, right? Total this right? So you can see the total ABC. That means here A and B is the A is the remuneration, total remuneration paid to the employees who are not liable for the APID, and B is the total remuneration paid to the employees, those who are liable to APID, and C is the total secondary remuneration, total secondary employment remuneration payment. So the sum of this ABC to be equal to D, right? So this D plus E, right? The total remuneration D plus E to be equal to the total employment expenditure in your financial statement. මේක සමහර අය කරන්නේ නැහැ. අත්‍තරම සමහරලාට මේක ප්‍රායෝගික ප්‍රශ්නින්ද කරන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි in case of audit, right? In case of audit, sometimes the taxpayer has to reconcile this. The IRB officer may ask, you have paid in your P&L, you have charged say 50 million rupees for the employment, maybe as a salary, maybe as a bonus, maybe as allowance, maybe as other welfare or whatever it is. You have already charged 50 million in your P&L, but when we analyze your APIT schedule, APIT statement for that particular year of assessment, we have declared only 40 million. So why this 10 million difference? So in that case, you have to reconcile. That is why it's important to enter all these three figures correctly. සමහර වෙලාවට සමහර අය මේ A එක නැත්නම් මේ tax deduct කරපු නැති අයගේ detail එක හරියට මෙතන enter කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක සමහර විට හොයාගන්න බැරුව ඉතින් සමහර විට large scale එකේ organisation එකකට. හැබැයි එහෙම වුණොත් ඒක මේ PA audit එකක් වගේ එකක් කළොත් නැත්නම් සමහරවිට income corporate income tax, comprehensive income tax audit එකකදී it may be a issue. The officer may ask, so reconcile these two items. I mean, reconcile the employment cost in the P&L with your pay tax return. So if you do not enter the right amount here, there will be some issue. That is why it is important to enter all these things correctly, right? Any questions? මේක සමහර විට ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. You know, sometimes in some organization, especially this well-established organizations, they do not reveal their salaries to their staff, right? Especially this executive salary will be handled by the third party. not the inbuilt HR department or inbuilt finance department. It will be handled by the some other party because of the secrecy, right? So the one employee, he doesn't know the total remuneration of the next person in next employee to him, right? ഈ അല്ലപ്പോ സീറ്റ് ഒക്കെ ഇന്നക്കനാകെ എംപ്ലോയ്മെന്റ് ഇൻകം ഒക്കെ തന്നെ even finance manager he don't have any idea about the remuneration of the HR manager. So therefore this part will be handled by the third party for the certain organization. It can be හිතන්නකො මොකක් හරි ලොකු හෝල්ඩින් කම්පැනියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ හෝල්ඩින් කම්පැනි එක මොකක් හරි කම්පැනි එකක් කියමුකෝ ABC Limited. ABC Limited එකේ කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි මෙන්න මේක ෆීල් කරනවා. එයාට මේ ඩේටා ටික දෙනවා. හැබැයි එයා දන්නේ නැහැ, එයාට හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ අර මේකේ ෂෙඩියුල්ස් වල ඩේටා. ෂෙඩියුල් එක අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්නේ වෙන කෙනෙක්, right? Can be, right? But anyway, even this part has been outsourced or not, the responsible officer has to be careful to enter the total figure here, right? Okay. But in certain cases, there may be some practical difficulties, right? So this is the first part, right? Here you have to enter the once and for all payment, that is terminal benefit, right? So terminal benefit amount that you paid and the WHP deducted against the terminal benefit. Second part, you have to enter the same monthly basis, right? You have to enter the same monthly basis, right? So this is it, right? The gross remuneration of employee tax deducted, right? So here this is for the tax deducted, right? And exempted and excluded remuneration, total gross remuneration liable for APIT, tax deducted amount, payment made. Right? So this is for the once and for all payment, right? So this has to be this total, right? So this total has to be matched with the part pay totals, right? Okay, we'll see that while we are doing the return filing. How we use the government executives employee salary and financial benefit calculation. So yes, there's a circular. The non-financial benefit has to be value based on the particular gazette notification, even for the government officers. So it's not very much clear what do you mean how to use. Even for the government executives, it has to be applied. So I hope you are referring this non-cash benefit of house, non-cash benefit of motor vehicle. Is it you are referring? So there's a particular gazette notification refers to the valuation of those non-cash benefits. We have to apply that particular schedule for the government officials as well. Only difference is, I think, this only difference is this telephone allowance, right? So in the hands of private sector employee, out of the telephone allowance, 50% will be liable, but in the hands of government sector employees, out of the telephone allowance, only 25% liable, I think. And transport allowance, let me check, right, whether there's any exemption for the transport allowance for the government officers. But the non-cash benefit value to be calculated according to this particular gazette notification. Fuel allowance, no? If it is allowance, I think if it is allowance, we need to consider. But if it is if it is just a fuel, not the allowance, right? It has to be say if it is a motor vehicle plus driver plus fuel, uh, it will be evaluated as a 50,000 rupees per month, right? But if it is a fuel allowance, I just need to check, right? Vehicle allowance and fuel allowance for public allowance. Public allowance means, is it for public sector officer? Public officer. Vehicle allowance and fuel allowance for public officer. You mean that 50,000 is the vehicle allowance, no? And 120,000 liter. So if the in case employer provide fuel, it will be treated as the monthly benefit of 20,000. Even for the public sector officer or the private sector officer, once the employer provide the fuel, it will be treated as the monthly benefit of 20,000. And if it is, here you just refer the vehicle allowance, no, not the vehicle. If it is a vehicle allowance, we need to consider the allowance, right, amount, right? If it is a vehicle, uh, according to that particular gazette notification, it is treated as rupees 20,000 per month. But here you just say it's a vehicle allowance. If it is a vehicle allowance, it should be 50,000 plus 20,000. Fuel allowance with vehicle and driver. For the vehicle, monthly benefit will be 20,000. For the driver, monthly benefit will be 10,000. But if it is a fuel allowance, not the fuel allowance. So let me check it, right? So but we have to apply once it is a fuel allowance without the fuel. No, the thing is, if it is an allowance, right? So let me open, right? So okay, that's yeah, you're having a lot of issues in that area. Let me open the particular gazette notification. So let me check, right? If it is allowance, we have to consider the allowance amount in price. So so someone can pay, say, 100,000 as a vehicle allowance, right? So, but if it is 100,000 payment, we cannot use the 20,000 as the vehicle benefit. So let me open this. Let's see. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, I'm just searching that circular. I do have that one. Before that. So explanatory note on application of advanced personal intelligence. Here it is. The quantification of value for non-cash benefit in calculating employees' income. This is the circular, right? Hope you can see. quantification of creating amount for benefit in calculating employment income. This is first one for the shares, and second one, value of benefit from any resident provided by the employer. So we'll start from this one. Value of benefit from any resident provided by the employer, value of benefit for any place of residence provided by the employer in respective situation should be amount specified as follows, right? So if it is a rated area, if this housing rated area, it should be 12.5% of the salary. So salary means the amount required to be considered for the deduction of we call the deduction of this widows and orphans pension scheme, WNOP, or the provident fund. For the other case, salary means gain and profit from the employment received in cash to such employee from the relevant employment, right? Okay. So if it is the house in unrated area, it will be 10% of the salary. If it is a estate bungalow, it will be 7.5% of the salary. This is about the house, right? So then the second one, quantification of the value of benefit included in traveling, transport, or related facilities provided by the employer. Okay, right? The value of benefit from the provision of motor vehicle partly used for the private use or the aggregate of any allowance. The value of benefit from the provision of motor vehicle partly used for private use or the aggregate of any allowance. It includes the allowance as well. Aggregate of any allowance for paragraph B and C below paid in lieu of provision of such vehicle is quantified as. It says not only the motor vehicle, motor vehicle partly used for private use or the aggregate of any allowance for the paragraph B and C below, paid in lieu. We'll see what does the paragraph B and C says. Paid in lieu of the provision of such vehicle is quantified as below. The value of benefit from the private use partly of any motor vehicle provided by the employer. If it is a motor vehicle provided by the employer, benefit will be 20,000 per month. And if it is motor vehicles plus driver, benefit will be 20,000 plus another 10,000 per driver. If it is motor vehicle plus driver plus fuel, it will be 50,000 according to the part A. The part B, the value of benefit shall be 25% of the cost incurred by the employer for the payment of any amount to the employee for using a vehicle owned or rented by that employee. The value of benefit shall be 25% of the cost incurred by the employer for the payment of any amount to the employee for using a vehicle owned or rented by that employee, where such employer should provide a vehicle or pay an amount in lieu of providing vehicle for official use, fully or partly, to that employee, and any circular, directive, or regulation issued that behalf of by the government. The value of the benefit shall be 25% of the cost incurred by the employer for the payment of any amount to the employee for using a vehicle owned or rented by that employee, where such employer should provide a vehicle or pay an amount in lieu of providing vehicle for official use, fully or partly, to that employee. That means if it is an allowance, vehicle allowance payment, out of that vehicle allowance payment, 25% will be the employment benefit, employees benefit for the tax purpose, right? Wherein the second C, where any employee is required to be provided with a vehicle for official use, fully or partly, and entitled to a payment for fuel under any circular, required to be provided with the vehicle, and entitled to a payment for fuel under any circular, directive or regulation issued in that behalf by the government, such part of cost incurred by the employees attributable to the 25% of the fuel, which is the employees entitled under such circular will be valued in the benefit to. Okay, so if it is a vehicle allowance or fuel allowance, 25% of that allowance will be treated for his APIT calculation. All right, okay. So yeah, if it is for the first vehicle, the only one vehicle is provided, right? So in case fuel allowance or the vehicle allowance, right? The 25% of the allowance will be considered for the pay purpose. That means 75% will be exempted. So I'm not. I just want to check whether this 25% is only applicable for the government sector. Value of the benefit shall be 25% of the cost incurred by employer for the payment of any amount to the employee for using a vehicle owned or rented by that employee, where such employer should provide a vehicle or pay an amount in lieu of providing a vehicle official use to the employee under any circular, directive or regulation issued in that behalf by the government. So, however, only 25%, if it is a vehicle allowance or the fuel allowance, only 25% will be liable for the APIT, right? So, balance 75% is seems to be exempted. So, what I want to check whether this is applicable for the whole or whether this is only applicable for the government sector. Okay, right. So I will share this circular. Right. Okay, that's good question, right? So I also learned something about this question, but I do have a doubt whether this exemption, 75% exemption on this vehicle allowance and fuel allowance. I just want to, the doubt I do have whether it is applicable for all or whether it is applicable only for the government sector employees. Let me check it, right? So I will answer for that one on next week, but this is the way we calculate the allowance amount, right? So again, we just be here, we were here, right? Here. So now in the hands of government sector employees, now it is clear that out of the total fuel allowance and the vehicle allowance, 75% will be exempted, right? So that amount has to be declared under this column, and this is the place where you need to enter the gross remuneration, monthly remuneration, right, paid to the employees who liable for the tax and amount of tax deducted, right? So these details you have to enter, and final part is the declaration. This is the format of the return, right? Not the return, actually, statement, annual statement of APIT, right? And then we move to the next. Okay, and those are the schedules that you need to submit with the APIT statement, right? You have to submit the schedule 1. Schedule 1 is the this is not the schedule 1. Okay, this is the schedule 1. Here, this is the payment liable for APIT other than the terminal benefit. You don't need to enter the terminal benefit related detail here. You have to disclose the officer wise or the employee wise detail. All right, the employee wise details refers to his employment income and the tax deduction. So here you have to enter the data refers to the employees who are liable for the APIT deduction. Schedule 1 එකේ මේ APIT වලට liable employees ලගේ details තමයි enter කරන්න ඕනේ, and these are the details you need to enter. Serial number of the pay sheet, name of the employee, designation, employment date from and to date, right? In case the person worked for that particular organization for whole 12-month period, he may be start from the 1st of April, say 2024 to 31st March 2025. And this is the cash payment. Here is the place where you need to enter the non-cash benefit for each employee and the total remuneration, the exempted income, right? Exempted income. And this is the amount of tax you deducted under the primary employment, right? And if he's having a secondary employment in this organization, this is the amount you deduct under the secondary employment. So, right, and then the total tax deducted amount and the national identity card number of the employee. This is very important one, right? You need to enter the correct national identity card number of the employee. Otherwise, that employee may not be entitled to claim this APIT credit with this individual income tax return, right? Employee's passport number, especially when this employee is a non-resident, right? So, or the non-citizen. When this employee is non-citizen, you need to enter the passport number. And this is employee's TIN. If available, you need to enter the employee's TIN number as well, right? So at the moment, the matching will be done through this NIC number. So in order to allow the APIT credit to particular employee, system will check this column, right? So system will do the matching through this column. NIC number හරහා තමයි match කරලා බලන්නේ. That is why it is very important to enter the correct number, right? So this is schedule 1. Let me show the other schedules. And this is schedule 2, right? Schedule 2 refers to the terminal benefit. You can have a සේවාන්ත ලැබීම්, maybe EPF payment, right? And maybe payment from gratuity payment, right? And compensation payment, or whatever the once and for all cash payment and the non-cash benefit as a once and for all. So these details you have to disclose under the schedule 2. And this is the schedule 3. This is the schedule for the the list of employees whose APIT have not been deducted due to being less than the threshold, right? So their details also you need to disclose with the schedule 3. But my experience is most of the organizations, they do not provide the proper details with this schedule 3, right? Okay. So let's move to we have just seen the annual return. There are a lot of guides as well. This is the guide for the APIT return filing, right? You can refer those guides as well, all right? I'm just showing those guides. And these are some important facts refers to the APIT return filing. You need to maintain this kind of matching, right? Here, so you need to match with the part A of the APIT annual return with the part B of the APIT annual return, right? Say the total remuneration paid to the employees who liable for the tax deduction, right? So this amount, that means B and C, to be matched with the total in the part 2, right? Total in the part 2, the remuneration and the deducted amount to be matched. Likewise, once and for all payment also need to match with the part A and part 1 and part 2. This matching is very important while you are filing the return. If those figures are not matched, system will say error messages. System will pop up the error messages. And thereafter, you need to match the part A2 details with the matching is the most important thing. Schedule 1 එකේ අපි enter කරන්නේ ඇත්තටම APIT deduct කරපු employees ලගේ detail. එතකොට මේ APIT deduct කරපු employees ලගේ detail enter කරන schedule එකේ තියෙන total match වෙන්න ඕනි අර part 1 වල සහ part 2 වල enter කරපු data එක්ක. So that's the speciality with this statement filing. And let me move to the return filing. And before moving to the return filing video, I would like to suggest let's have a 2-minute water break, right? After 2-minute water break, we'll be back at 9:42, right? 9:42, okay, for 4-minute water break. After that, we'll be back, right? So then we can continue, I think, until 10:40, right? So we can discuss this APIT return filing part and the WHT return filing part as well, because it's also similar, right? So let's have a 4-minute water break, right? Is it okay? Okay, thank you for waiting, right? So we'll start the rest, right? So we have to complete this return filing part. So This is it, I think. Okay. Hope you can see my screen. Now I have share my video capture. Okay. So here it is, right? So now that SSID holder, right? He has logged to the system using his SSID, and then what he has done, he has selected the return schedule management here. From the return schedule management, he has selected the payee or advanced personal income tax. So this is the summary page of pay return filing, right? So this particular organization, this is just just hypothetical data for the testing purpose, right? So these organizations are not actual, right? So we just create this data only for the testing purpose, right? That is why only 23-24 return is available here, right? So then what we have to do, we have to select the particular year of assessment. But in the production, in the practical scenario, you may have several pay returns. The other pay return, that means the pay return for the past years may be already submitted, but the current year one still at the moment there won't be any pay return in the with the status new, because pay return due date for the 24-25 already lapsed now. So the 24-25 pay return has to be submitted on or before 30th April 2025. So even the 24-25 one now should be submitted, right? හැබැයි මෙතන මේ testing data හින්දා තමයි මේ 23-24 new විදියට තියෙන්නේ. So we'll proceed, right? We select the year of assessment and we start the return filing. Okay, so this is the return, right? So this is the return that we have discussed so far. We have discussed the same return with the format, right? So now we just open the return in Ramis system, right? So this is the part A. Part A, first stage to declare the number of employees who are not entitled for the APIT. And other important thing is there are info buttons as for the other tax type here as well. You can see the info buttons. If you need more details, you can click, you can move the cursor onto this info buttons, right? So then there will be additional information here. Here it says employees who are considered to be primary, secondary employment and from whom no tax have been deducted under the APIT scheme due to less than the tax-free allowance during the year of assessment should be included in A. That means that this case. The relevant information of such employees should be submitted by the Schedule 3, right? So refers to the number of employees who enter for the cage number A, right? You have to submit the Schedule 3. අර අපි කතා කරන්නේ Schedule 3 එක මේගොල්ලන්ට අදාළව තමයි submit කරන්න ඕනේ. Okay, we'll go ahead, right? Say 25 and the remuneration maybe this much, and for this category let's say 2, and anyhow some amount has been deducted, and so based on the categorization here you have to enter how many number of employees are there and what is the amount of remuneration and the APIT, what is the amount of remuneration paid for that particular category and the amount of APIT deducted for that particular category, right? So those are the details that you need to enter here, and system will calculate the total. This 81 million is the total of remuneration paid to the employees, right, who liable for the advanced personal income tax, and this is the amount This is the amount WHT deducted, amount WHT deduct against the this 81 million remuneration, and this is the total number of employees who liable for the pay. It's 19 here. So 2 plus 5, 7, 7 plus 10, 17, 17 plus 2, 19. This is that 19, right? So, but ABC, it's the pay deducted and not liable to pay. මෙතන ඉන්නේ ඒ දෙකේම මේ ඒකයි secondary employment එකේ සම්පූර්ණ total එක. So altogether there are 45 employees. Out of that 45 employees, only 19 liable to the APIT deduction, and these are the details refers to the APIT deduction, and here is the total, right? Okay. In this case, no secondary employment and no once and for all payment. If available, you can enter, right? Another thing is here there's as per the previous return filing, especially this corporate income tax return and individual income tax returns, you have to enter the data to the cages, and then you have to click that buttons, then only that data will move to the table and the main return and so on. But here it is not like that. Directly you have to enter the data to those cages, right? The only thing the system calculate the sum, right? And you can alter those data, right? Whenever you need, you can alter. So again, further information, right? Then you have to move to the next once you complete this part. And this is the part 2. Part 2, for the same organization, what you need to do, here you have to again disclose the remuneration liable for the APIT based on the month, right? Monthly remuneration and the WHT deduction you have to enter here. What is the amount of remuneration paid during the month of April? So see, now I just try to click the next button without entering any data to the part 2. Then there are a lot of error messages. It says column B in the part 2 should be matched with the cage B plus cage C, total gross remuneration in part 1. Column C of the part 2 should be matched with the cage B and cage C of the total tax deduction in part 1. This is for the current remuneration payment, as I told earlier and with the presentation here, right? And as per the presentation slide, you need to match with the remuneration and APIT deduction for the current employees with the part 1 and part 2, and you need to match the terminal benefit payment and the tax deduction, WHT deduction or the APIT deduction against the terminal benefit payment with the part 2. මෙන්න මේ කොටස් දෙක මැච් වෙන්න ඕනි. ඒ කියන්නේ part A වල deduct කරලා පෙන්නපු නැත්නම් part A වල තියෙන total remuneration එකත් එක්ක මේ monthly total remuneration එක මැච් වෙන්න ඕනි. ඒ වගේම part A වල තියෙන tax deduct කරපු ප්‍රමාණයත් එක්ක monthly tax deduct කරපු ප්‍රමාණය tally වෙන්න ඕනි. part A වල තියෙන terminal benefits වලට අදාළව ගෙවපු ප්‍රමාණයත් එක්ක මේ part 2 වල monthly ගෙවපු terminal benefit total එක tally වෙන්න ඕනි සහ terminal benefits වලට අදාළව deduct කරපු tax එක එතන monthly tally වෙන්න ඕනි. If not, system will not allow to move to the next page, and it shows this kind of error messages. So all these error messages will help us to make the correction. So now we have to enter the data. If you can remember, we have reported the 81 million as the remuneration paid for the liable. So let's move to the next video. Right. So here I have entered the data here, right? So if you can remember, earlier we have entered the total of 81 million for the gross remuneration paid for the employees who are liable for the APIT, and 14 million is the amount of APIT deducted against the liable remuneration. So I have matched those figures here, and even I match the once and for all payment as well with the part one. Thereafter, we can move to the schedules, right? මම මේක match කරපු data එක දැන් මෙතන මේ තියෙන්නේ, right? Payment matrix. No, payment made to IR නෙමෙයි අතරම payment made කියන එක මම මෙතන මේ කියන payment made කියන එකෙන් mean කලේ මේ payment made to the remuneration paid to the employees. employees ලට ගෙවපු remuneration එක part A වල disclose කරපු employees ලට ගෙවපු remuneration එකත් එක්ක තමයි match කරන්න ඕනේ, right? Okay, so still we do have an issue. It says total column in F in part 2 should be met with the KE, right? So once we correct, right? Once we correct, we can move to the next, right? So once we correct all these displayed error messages, we can move to the next part. The next part is the schedule uploading part, and first part. So under this, right? First you have to fill the summary part, right? This is the schedule 1 summary. So let me show you schedule 1 summary. Schedule 1, if you can remember, it is for the details. The employee wise details refers to the refers the AP employee wise details refers to the employees who liable for the APIT. APIT somehow liable to employees lage a employee wise detail tamai schedule 1 wala enter karanne. This is the summary, right? Again, we have to enter the same amount in the part 1 of the APIT statement. Cash payment 81 million. Assume no non-cash benefits. The total is this much, right? No total exempted and excluded income, and so we'll see the rest. Deducted under primary employment income 14 million. Okay, this is the total, right? So then here we have to right. So if we try to move to the next slide, system will show this kind of error messages, right? We cannot move to the rest without entering the schedule details. So without uploading the relevant schedules. See, it says sum of the schedule 1 data in cash payment does not match with the summary of APIT schedule 1 entered. Sum of the schedule 1 data in the total remuneration does not match with the summary of the APIT schedule 1 entered. The sum of the schedule 1 data in the tax deducted under primary employment income does not match with the summary of APIT schedule 1 entered. Schedule 1 record added does not match with the total number of employees, right? So what we can do is there are two options. One is we can enter the schedule related data using this inbuilt user interface. අපිට මේ user interface එකම use කරලා data employees ලගේ data enter කරන්න පුළුවන්, but it's not practical, right? So the system allow to enter only up to I think 10 employees detail. In case your organization have more than 10, what you have to do is you have to upload the CSV, right? So let me show you. And this is it, right? So then here you can see update APIT schedule 1 online. See, if I select the schedule 1 online submission, you can have this kind of user interface to enter the employee wise data, right? But it does not allow to enter many number of employees detail here, right? And if you do have more number of employees, what you have to do is you have to select the other way. That means you have to select the schedule upload part. But just to purpose of show, I just enter the one data here, right? CSV එක use කළත් මේ data ම enter කරන්න ඕනේ CSV එකේ. Here maximum 20 employees record can be updated online, not the 10, 20, and 20, right? So if your organization do have more than 20 employees, you need to use the CSV, right? So if it is less than 20 or the 20, even 20, you can use this inbuilt online schedule. Or in other case, you have to use that. You have to then click that then save button, then it comes to here. Likewise, you have to enter the whole employees detail. Here we do have 19 employees, right? So we say 19 employees. We have to select. We have to enter the 19 employees detail. එහෙම නැත්තම් තියෙන අනිත් එක තමයි, right? So the next option, right? මේ විදිහට මෙතන මේ inbuilt එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගොඩක් දෙනෙක් use කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වෙනුවට ගොඩක් දෙනෙක් කරන්නේ what they do, they use the CSV. Right, so once you click the save and add button, data will come to the table below. See, okay. One second. Okay, so the other option, upload the API to schedule 1 data. Then මම මෙතන මේ use කළා online enter කරන එක මම එක data එකක් enter කරමින් ඉඳා. හැබැයි employees ලා විස්තර වඩා වැඩි නම් අපි අතන ටික් නොකර මේ upload API to schedule 1 data කියන එකෙන් ගිහිල්ලා API to schedule එක upload කරන්න පුළුවන්. Let me show it, right? Instead of selecting this, I just select the other option. upload the document. So then, right, so now system itself untick the first one, right? I just delete this record, right? So now the summary is available, and I say upload the document. And here I have to select the schedule, APIT schedule 1, right? So summary will be there. Then I have to select the file, right? It should be the CSV file verified with the relevant tool, right? A relevant tool එකකින් verify කරපු file එක තමයි enter කරන්න ඕනි. මේ වෙන මොකක් හරි enter කරොතින් can you see system says it's an incorrect one, right? So until you enter the proper um, verified APIT schedule 1, system will not allow to move to the next. So now I'm going to enter the corrected APIT schedule, right? So here now this time I have entered the verified schedule. Still there are some issues, right? You can see total linkage C. What I did, I just simplified this. That means instead of that 81 million, I just enter the schedule 1 as the 9 million. මොකද 81 million ට match කරන්න data දාන්න වෙලා යන හින්දා මම මේක මේ purposely මේක 9 million වලට ගත්තා. That is what I am doing, that kind of reverse engineering and kind of thing, right? මම මේ schedule එකේ විදියට statement එක වෙනස් කරන්නේ, but it is not possible with the actual data, right? In order to move to the rest, I just recalculate the statement data. හැබැයි මේක ඔයගලන්ට real මේ විදිහට කරන්න බෑ. මම මේ කරන එක මේක මම අතන මේ අර මේ ඉස්සරහට යන විදිය පෙන්වන්න තමයි මම මේ data එක අයින් කරලා මේක simple එකක් දාලා ඉස්සරහට යන විදිය පෙන්වන්නයි හදන්නේ. Actual data වලදී මේක කරන්න බෑ. You have to prepare the schedules according to the actual data. I just do this in order to show you this matchings, right? So until you match the things, until you match the schedule summary with the part 1 and part 2 of this statement, you cannot submit this return. That is what I just need to highlight here. නැතු මේ delete කරන එක ගන්න එපා. delete කරන්නේ ඒ purpose එකටයි. මම 9 million වලට match කරා. right? So I have to change the part 2 as well as accordingly I have to change the part 1 as well. So my aim is to match the part 1 and part 2 details with the schedule 1, right? Schedule 1 එකත් එක්ක match කරලා මේ කොහොමද schedule 1 upload කරලා මේ ඉස්සරහට යන්නේ කියන එක පෙන්වන්න තමයි මම මේක කරන්නේ. So now I'm saying next. So according to the schedule, I have recalculate the statement data and then I just upload it. Then system allowed to me to move to the schedule 2, right? So that's it, I think. So if schedule 2 is applicable, you have to upload the schedule for the schedule 2 as well, and then you have to upload the schedule for the schedule 3 as well. Once you complete that part, you can submit this return. If you are a preparer, if you are logging using the SSID for APIT preparer, you can submit this return to the approver. It doesn't mean that you have already submit the return to the IRB. In order to submit the return to the IRB, make sure approver, the person who's having the SSID as APIT approver, has to open this return and he has to submit this return again. Once the return submitted by the approver, then only it comes to the IRB. දැන් සමහර මේ ගොඩක් වෙලාට මේ මෑතකදී අහන්න වුණා සමහර මේ ගොඩක් වෙලාට මේක වෙන්නේ ස්මෝල් ස්කේල් එකේ ඕගනයිසේෂන් වල ඒගොල්ලන් ඕක වැරදීමකින් මේ ප්‍රිපෙයාර් මේක ප්‍රිපෙයාර් කරලා ප්‍රිපෙයාර් සබ්මිට් කරලා නිකන් ඉන්නවා. ප්‍රිපෙයාර් සබ්මිට් කරලා නිකන් ඉන්නකොට හිතන් ඉන්නවා okay we have already submitted, but it's not okay, right? So make sure if you are a preparer, you cannot submit it to the IRD, you can submit it only to the approver. So it's a must. Approver has to log and approver has to submit this to the Inland Revenue, right? And then let me show you another presentation. This is regarding the schedule preparation, how to prepare schedule and how to validate the schedule through the tool, right? Let me show this video now. First, we have to log into the Inland Revenue website. From the Inland Revenue website, we have to move to the download. From the download, we have to select the schedules. This time we are going to submit the pay schedule, right? So from here we have to select the correct pay schedule, right? If it is a schedule 1, right? Can you see schedule 1, right? There are schedule 1 for remuneration and other, and once and for all payment, and schedule 2 for once and for all payment, right? Schedule 1 is for the remuneration other than once and for all payment. Schedule 2 is the one for schedule 2 for the once and for all payment. Schedule 3 for the list of employees who APIT have not been deducted due to being less than threshold, and 1 amendment and 2 amendment and 3 amendment. If it is an amendment, you have to select the amendment template, right? If it is original, you have to select it from here. And further, you have to consider this time period as well. If you select the schedules from this category and if you upload it for the 23-24, it work properly, right? So make sure to select the correct period and the correct schedule template. the approval, it does not apply for the all tax type, especially when it comes to individual income tax. No need this kind of SSID, right? So individual income tax, what you can do is you can just log into the system using your own PIN and PIN, and you can submit it, right? Even that is what most of the consultants do. They request the PIN, not only the PIN must they have to request from the taxpayer, and they request the PIN as well from the taxpayer. So what does the consultant do? They log into the system as a taxpayer, right? In case someone log into the system as a taxpayer for the individual tax return filing purpose, he can just submit that return without going for the approval levels. He can just submit. But for all other tax type other than individual income tax, right, you need to have two SSID, one as a preparer and the other one as an approver. Approver can only submit those returns, I mean partnership tax return, the corporate income tax return. These things can be submitted only by the person who's having the SSID as an approver, right? Okay, so we'll move forward. I have selected, so now this one, right? Okay, this one, we are going to submit the schedule 1. You have to download this, right here, then you have to open it. This is specific schedule for this purpose, right? So definitely you need to use this template, right, to enter this data, right? Okay, this is it. You have to say enable to the content, and then you have to enter the data. Let's see, I just purposely enter some data with errors here, and we'll see what will happen if I enter the data with errors during the process of verification. I mean verification via tools, right? Here you have to enter the data as specified in this Excel template. So you can see the date format and some informations are specified here. You need to enter the period, and you need to enter the cash payment, non-cash payment, and kind of thing. All the details which you need to enter under the inbuilt, I mean the system schedule format, you need to enter the same details here. Inbuilt UI එකේ ගිහිල්ලා data enter කරලා add කරලා table එකට ගන්න ගිය data ටික ඔක්කොම මේ schedule එකේ enter කරන්න ඕනේ, but so my experience is most of them compelled to do this, right? Even they do have something less than 20, what they do, they use this, right? Rather using this inbuilt user interface in the ranks. So likewise, you have to complete this task, right? You have to enter the data, right? Serial number, name, and everything you have to enter. I have entered another data here. Once you complete it, you have to convert this Excel into CSV. To do this, each and every template do have a button, right? So you have to click on that button. By doing that, you can convert this into the CSV. So let me show. Then system will ask to save this document, right, with this special name format. මේ document එක save කරන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මේ name format එකට. ඒ format එකේ මුලින්ම tin එක, ඊට පස්සේ you have to say it's a APIT schedule 1, then you have to say period code date, and you have to say original and the version, right? So let me enter ඕනම withholding schedule එකකට, maybe for the individual income tax WHT deduction related withholding schedule, or the CSV schedule, or even for the corporate income tax related withholding schedule, VAT, value added tax related withholding schedule, sorry, not withholding schedule, value added tax related CSV schedule, or whatever the CSV schedule, you have to name as per this specification guide, right? And then you have to save the document as the save type of CSV, comma, delimited Excel format. You have to save this is in particular place in your desktop or the laptop. If there's some error with the document name, system will not allow you to save it, right? Okay, it is allowed to save, right? Then what you have to do, then you have to then you have to download the tool, and you have to verify this document via the tool. So you can see this is the comma eliminated document, right? CSV document we have created. Then you have to download the schedule. Schedule can be downloaded through the Inland Revenue website. Okay, you have to open the Inland Revenue website. Then you have to go to the download. From the download, you have to select the tools. So this is the most recent tool. You have to use the most recent tool from here. And this is the downloaded schedule verifier. You have to open this. From here, you have to run the application, right? This is the same procedure you have to apply for the every schedule verification purpose, right? හැම schedule verification purpose එකකටම මේක තමයි step එක. Maybe individual income tax, maybe corporate income tax, maybe VAT, right? Maybe even WHT. What you have to do is you have to prepare the CSV document, and then you have to name the CSV document according to the specification, and then you have to download the tool, and you have to verify the document via this tool. සමහර විට ඔයාලගේ මැෂින් වල තියෙන සිකියුරිටි එක්ක මේකෙදී පොඩි ගැටලු ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්, සමහර විට ඇති නොවෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒවා විසඳගෙන තමයි මේ process එක ඉස්සරහට යන්න ඕනේ. You may be the expert in this software, right? So it's like if you have some idea about this software and how does this computers work, right? So you can mitigate these kind of issues, right? So this is the tool, right? If once you run the application, right, you can access to the tool. The tool, there are several schedules verifiers, right? From those different schedule verifier tools, you have to select the appropriate tool for the particular schedule. එකනේ APIT schedule එකක් නම් අපි verify කරන්න යන්නේ අපි APIT tool එක තෝරන්න. අපි individual income tax related schedule එකක් නම් verify කරන්න යන්නේ අපි individual income tax කියන tool එක තෝරන්න ඕනේ, right? So since we just want to verify the APIT schedule, we select this one, APIT schedule verifier. Okay. So this is the tool, right? Here you have to say the schedule type, right? File type. It's a pay schedule 1, right? Not the amended one, pay schedule 1. And then you have to say the period code, and then you have to browse the prepared CSV file here. Right, you have to select the file. Then you have to open it. So now file is browsed to the tool, and then you have to click the verify button, right? So here you can see the validation failed, maybe because of those errors. The errors will be shown here, right? Because of these errors, system says validation failed. So in this case, what you have to do, you have to open up the schedule and we have to do the changes as specified in this tool, as specified by this tool. You have to do the changes for the schedule. So let me open the schedule again, right? So we'll see whether there are that kind of issues, especially with the employment period, right? So the tool says there's an issue with the employment period. We'll check, right, those errors. මෙන්න මේ වැරද්ද මෙයා කිව්වා, right? Let me show. It says the employment income initiated period මේ එක මේ employment income එක අවසන් කළ දිනයට වඩා කලින් දිනයක් වෙන්න බෑ කියලා. මෙතන මේ 2023 වෙනකොට මම ටයිප් කරලා තියෙන 1023. මම 1023 තමයි employment income එක end date එක විදිහට ටයිප් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. employment income එක start කරන date එක විදිහට ටයිප් කරලා තියෙන්නේ 2023 4යි 1. මෙන්න මෙතන මේ වැරද්ද නිසා තමයි මෙයා කිව්වේ end date එක කලින් දිනයක් වෙන්න බෑ beginning date එකට වඩා. සිස්ටම් එක දැන් මේක වෙරිෆයි කරන්න කලින් ඔන්න වගේ දේවල් මේ ටූල් එකකින් වෙරිෆයි කරගන්න පුළුවන් මැච් කරන්න කලින්. Once we edit the schedule, we can save it again and we can check whether now is it correct, whether the tool verify this document or not. We have to check, right? අපිට මේ විදිහට ඉෂුව එක රෙක්ටිෆයි කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි මේ වෙරිෆයි ටූල් එකේ මොකක්ද ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් මේ මම try කරලා බලනවා. ආයි ටූල් එක ඩවුන්ලෝඩ් කරලා ටූල් එක චේන්ජ් කරලා. right, ටූල් එක මම ආයි යූස් කළා. schedule tool එකේ schedule 1 එක අපි select කරන්න ඕනේ. I just attach the schedule again, right? So again it says some error, right? So I just make some changes and I just download the tool again and again until those errors are resolved, right? So maybe the tool එක through මම මේ return එක මේ schedule එක clear කරගත්තා පුළුවන් තරම් clear කරගෙන ආයෙත් browse කළා. කළා check again. It says validation pass. මේ tool එක කියන issues කොහොම හරි හැදුවෙන් පස්සේ මට validation pass කරගන්න පුළුවන්. So once we create the schedule, likewise, right, we can upload that schedule with the statement. මේ විදිහට tool එකකින් verify කරගත්ත statement එකක් තමයි අපි අර අතන ගිහිල්ලා add කරන්න ඕනේ, right? මේ upload කරන්න ඕනේ schedule 1 විදිහට. So this is the process actually. Even you are filing the withholding tax return, the same process. So next week we'll take half an hour and I just introduce the withholding tax statement, right? In the data entering process and the CSV return, CSV document attach process is similar, right? So we'll take half an hour for that purpose and the balance time will use for the schedule matching and common issues with the return filing and kind of thing we can discuss on next week. Any thing you need to share from your end? Refers to this API to return filing and the validation of the schedules and creation of the schedules. Any issues or any feedback? So the next week will be the last session of this Ramis work, right? Hope you have learned some amount of process, right? Refers to this individual income tax return filing to this pay return filing, right? So that is the prime target of this course. At the end of this course, you have to develop your capabilities, right? You have to provide better service to your client, or you have to provide better service to your employer, right? So that is why you dedicate your money as well as your time for this course, right? So just try to learn, just try to add some value to your career, or just try to add some value to your life after these sessions, right? So in that case, your feedback is very much important. So based on your feedback, I can change the way I present, and I can add some more details likewise. So even both party can improve through having a strong connection, right? The recording will be available with the Crown campus. I think it's better you to ask from the Crown campus for the recordings. So from my end as well, I just ask them to uh, ask them about these recordings. All right. So we'll see. Any questions? Okay. If no more questions, what we can do is we can wind up the session for the day. So just as I told, just think about what you have learned via this course and try to apply whatever the learning outcome for your day-to-day life, for your uh, workplace, or for your own business consultation kind of thing, right? And with that request, I will stop for the day. Hope you guys again join with us on next week for the final session. Thank you and good night. Yeah, definitely. I can share my contacts. So, me share my details. So these days, I'm a little busy with this Ramis e-filing and trying to answer for the phone, right? So if you cannot contact me via phone call, I think best way is to contact me via WhatsApp, right? So I'm available in WhatsApp under this number, and I definitely answer for the all WhatsApp messages. May not be able to answer for the WhatsApp messages at the time I just received it, but anyhow, uh, I try to answer all the messages. This is my contact details. Okay then. So we'll leave. Thank you for your active participation. Have a good week. Thank you. Good night.